Bitcar is a global high-tech blockchain company, and our mission is to reshape the high-end automotive ownership sector. Now, so we're a bit different to everything else. I mean, there are a lot of projects out there in the blockchain sector right now that are linked to payment platforms and all these other blockchains and that kind of thing. And we are kind of in a space that's a bit different, and so I like to talk about that. And we want to reshape the ownership experience for vehicles. I mean, a lot of you have probably already seen friends come up to you and say, you know, I've sold my car, I don't want to own it anymore. And I say, well, why is that? It's because like Uber is much cheaper. So actually the landscape for ownership of vehicles is changing pretty rapidly across the whole of the earth. So Bitcar then is a cryptocurrency set for the automotive sector, starting with the high-end classics and hypercars, as we call them. And I'll explain why that is and actually what our greater mission is. So Bitcar is building a decentralized platform for the fractional ownership of exotics treated as an art class. So you can trade them peer-to-peer in real time, and we're opening this asset class in the world first, and it has some features similar to Tether actually, which I'll talk to you about. So the title and storage of these exotics, right, is severed and transferred onto the platform for co-ownership. And the platform's exotics are transparently displayed in mobile tourist locations like what we call Bitcar boutiques. And they're not driven by the owners, but they're coveted until they're sold after 5 to 15 years. So the minimum time that these exotics are on the platform is 5 years, and then the owners can vote and extend that to 10 or 15 years. I'll tell you more about that. So we are seeking to expand as well to attempt to dominate the automotive industry for co-ownership using our blockchain technology. Remember, we go back 4 years ago, we started out in blockchain technology, and in those days I remember going around places like Sydney, and everybody just said, what are you talking about? What is this blockchain thing? You guys are mad, you know? So things have changed so much in that time, and it's been amazing to see what's happened in the industry. So the success of Bitcar tokens then is really linked to the platform use and take-up. So we're like a software as a service type platform. It's not linked at all to the value of the exotics that are on the platform as well. So in terms of what we've been doing, 2.5 years ago, we started work on Bitcar. And that was at the same time I started work on Power Ledger. And many of you may have known Power Ledger, but I'm a co-founder of that. Myself, John, and Nuno, we started out 4 years ago with Ledger Assets, and that was Australian, quite a large blockchain company. We then did Power Ledger, and we joined with Dave and Gemma to make the team there. And that company has gone forward a long way, and it's now top 50 cryptocurrency in the world for Power Ledger. So that's been fantastic, and it's been amazing to see that grow so strongly. But the other project that we had like 50 projects that we screened at the time, and this is the only other one that we really wanted to get involved in. And the reason for that is that only rich guys can own these beautiful Ferraris or whatever and store them in their garage, they drive them, and they're getting appreciation when they go up, that kind of thing. We thought that's an asset class. There's gold, there's property, stocks, cash, Here's an asset class that could actually be open to the public. So it's a grand vision 2.5 years ago that we said we wanted to do that. But since that time, we've got a lot of feedback from people, which has been great, and we've widened basically to say, well, actually, we're going to go and do that first, and then we're going to widen into the automotive industry and use the blockchain technology for the effects of trustless and frictionless transfer of ownership of vehicle assets. So our background is then in technology, of course, research and development, AI as well, co-founders of Ledger Assets and Power Ledger. So the design, let's quickly talk about the design. So ultimately, Bitcar nurtures exotic and high-end car passion, and there is no cryptocurrency really in that space at the moment. It's a huge space, so it's been great to get all that feedback on Twitter and our social channels. It's growing quite strongly. So the blockchain, as you guys already know, provides disruptive tokenization layer, transparency, removal of trust, real-time low cost, and those kind of things. And that is actually a game changer even in the fairly undisrupted automotive sector in terms of ownership. Remember what I said earlier, that the ownership of vehicles is changing rapidly as well from, used to just own your own vehicle, now it's shared, or you don't own them and that kind of thing. So it is actually very timely. So another feature of the design is that we're using an external agent function. So what that means is agents will interact with the decentralized Ethereum platform using their multi-signature cryptographic keys, and they'll be tokenizing the vehicles. They're actually fully responsible from sourcing to storage to insurance, tokenization, and they're aligned with the vehicle's on-platform performance to protect the users as well. So it's completely outsourced, and that means that Bitcar is at core, decentralized software platform is what it will be. And we've already spoken to FINMA, which is a regulator in Switzerland that you guys might be familiar with, and we've spent time talking with them, getting a ruling, spent a lot of time with lawyers. This project here has spent a lot of legal time because, you know, what is security, what isn't security. And so we've actually spoken with FINMA, and we've shaped the legal design extensively as we structure the project going forwards, and they've been actually really proactive. And so we're of the view that you should work with regulators, and you know, they're actually looking to protect a lot of interests, and they can give you some great feedback as well. So that's certainly our experience with FINMA, and also in Singapore is a fantastic jurisdiction where they're embracing innovation very strongly, and as long as people play by the rules, you know, I think we'll see fantastic projects supported there as well. So that's kind of the view from what we're seeing. The Bitcar utility token is supportive. We have supportive legal reports in multiple jurisdictions that it is not a security, and the Bitcar utility token itself is very similar. It has nothing attached to it. There are no rights or promises and that kind of thing, so it's fairly standard. So, give you an example of what we're talking about. Did you know that an F40 Ferrari or an F50 Ferrari as depicted there, this is the kind of performance that we've seen from $250,000 in 2006 right up to $1.75 and $2.5 million. Of course, I must say here, prices can go up and down, but these are very limited in availability. They are a beautiful design, they are aesthetic, and a lot of people are really saying, well, you know, I've got some stocks, gold, and I actually want to have some beautiful aesthetic assets like that. So it's a very interesting asset class. It's never been disrupted in this nature, in this way before, and that's what Bitcar is initially targeting very strongly. So the size of the opportunity, what is it? You know, I mean, Power Ledger, look at the size of that opportunity. That's energy transfer across the whole world, absolutely huge, right? This is not small, however. We're estimating $105 billion of target cars are out there, and we're targeting 1% to 2% of that within a few years. And that would lead to a large trading volume for Bitcar as well. So it's actually pretty large, and that's just our first part of the roadmap is executing on this simple vision, very clear in what we're executing about. We don't want to go too grand and say we're going to do a $1 trillion thing. We're just going to execute really hard and clear on that focused strategy and then build from there. That's kind of the experience we got from Power Ledger. We think that's the best way. So you can also get a plug into the gaming industry, which is $16 billion annually, and we've got quite a big team now in Bitcar, sort of over 10, and some of the younger guys are just telling us, my God, look at all these gaming events and everything, this would dovetail with that, so we're listening to that as well. And then, as I said earlier, our full planned attack on the automotive sector for co-ownership, driverless, autonomous vehicle sharing, that's a huge market, and in the end, we think that is where Bitcar, the cryptocurrency, will live, and hopefully dominate as the years go forward. And we're looking at many different opportunities in that, and like water, you've got to be adaptive in the sector as well. From our learnings and some other companies I've done, don't be too fixed. So we're looking at them, and they're still moving around sometimes on exactly what we do. Because as you form the companies, you actually go do stuff, you learn so much more. The worst thing you can ever do is have a great idea and don't do it. If you have a good idea and you believe in it, go and do it, and it may still change slightly. So we've got that flexibility always in our heads. So the revenue then comes from trading fees. And I just want to point out Binance, look what they're doing. They're using their trading fees to buy back their token, which is incredible, and even burning them. So we looked at those kind of designs, and they are very interesting designs for what you can do. So here's another example. Look at this McLaren F1. This thing went from $1 million in 2006 to 15.5 million. It's like hard to believe. And so, there's a lot of these. We've got 2.5 years of research, got all the lists of cars. We're not obviously publishing that yet, but there's a fantastic limited supply assets in this sector that could be, put on the platform. So, I just want to talk a little bit about this, the design of the economy. This is kind of like version 2 of a tokenization design, where Power Ledger was our first version. And so on this diagram here, you can see there are like 9 areas for how the token is used. So I'm very careful with my language. For example, you use it as a utility to come on the platform. You have access to it. You can make payments using the utility token Bitcar. There is a refundable payment premium, transfer fees, and the maintenance, storage, and insurance is paid for the full 5 years up front. And then if you decide after 3 weeks, well, I'm out, then you get the refund of that. So that escrows a lot of tokens. And the only thing I want to say about that, which is reasonable to say, I think, is that obviously a platform like this, if you're escrowing and using tokens and there being the usage of that, that puts pressure on the demand for the tokens, and has price implications. I think that's probably the best way to say that. And there are, it's 500 million tokens in the design for Bitcar. So just coming towards the end, our prototype software was created over 2 years ago. The team is now 10 strong. We did it in the days when we're the first platform for this that we developed. We used the Bitcoin protocol, and we used colored coin technology. I don't know if you guys remember playing with that. That's how it actually started first, and all the transfers of asset interests were done using colored coin technology in-house. We had a lot of fun, like writing little transactions into the Bitcoin blockchain using different codes that had different meanings. And we designed it all like that, and then we actually got people involved to test actually what is it that they want and how do they use it, what is user-friendly. You've got to do a lot of testing and get people involved and make mock-ups and designs before you actually go and do something. So we've got all that already on board as we're now decentralizing the platform. So the team is really important as well, and I just point out there's myself, there's John Bullich there in the top right, and Cherie and Nuno, and we were, Ledger assets that then went into Power Ledger and Bitcar, and that's all we really want to do. You can't do too many projects, otherwise you can't focus properly, so that's it for us. And then, Nuno is supported by Al on the bottom left there, and Nuno is a great story there as well. He's a full stack engineer, and he joined us many years ago. He was an elevator engineer in the Azure Islands, but in his spare time, his passion was completely blockchain and stuff like that, and so it was amazing. And he quit his job, took a gamble, and joined us, and it's been very good for him, I think, as well, and good for us. Made him a shareholder on day one. It was amazing. So the team that you have in place to pull off a project is as important, if not more, than the actual vision of what you're doing. You've got to have a great team, and so we're so lucky to have a great team. And Cherie there, who's in the audience somewhere as well, she is a specialist in community engagement. She has spent substantial time building the community at Power Ledger. And she's been absolutely fantastic at that. And then Julia as well as helping Cherie. So, and then I've got to mention as well that we've got Dan Woodruff on the right there. He's an ex-racing driver from Malaysia, nearly made it to Formula One, and he is our front man really very much at Bitcar, and he has a huge passion, knows all these cars, has all the networks. And then Rodney Kilborn on the top left there is our international engagement specialist. So we've already got a nice core team, got the track record, the core team of doing Power Ledger and all the issues that you go through as you develop a company like that to top 50 cryptocurrency. So we're quite specialized, know what we're doing. We want to really push this forward. And here's some pictures. Recently, there's another picture of the team on the top left, including Peter Briggs there, who is a world-renowned car collector, over 300 cars, museums, and that kind of thing. So again, over that 2 years, we picked up some really important connections, and he knows R.M. Sotheby's founders and all those important people. So you've got to have that industry depth as well, and Bitcar's been building that up really nicely, and he's superb. And then over in London there, you can see a picture of that Ferrari Enzo. The exotic car sector is very, very hungry to be involved in the crypto sector as well. There is nothing really there, so we're very pleased to be helping them on that. And I can see I've come to time equals 0. So we're in Singapore. If you guys are over there, feel free to contact us or reach out to these channels. And thank you for listening to me and today. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.